Hello again, everybody. I'm here today to do my review of the character Jack Frost from Rise of the Guardians. Like I mentioned in my last video, my friend and I are doing reviews of Scrooge McDuck and Jack Frost, because they happen to be our two favorite fictional characters. Yesterday he did his review on Scrooge. The day before that, I did my review on Scrooge, and the day before that, he did his review on Jack. Well, I'm here today to do my review on Jack as a response to his review. Anyway, I've noticed that even though Jack does have a lot of fans, he also has some haters. And I'm going to give my own input on a lot of the complaints I've heard from Jack's haters, and sort of address those complaints. Now, let's get started. The complaints that I've heard the most often are, he's overrated, he has annoying fans, he's good-looking, to each their own, he's boring and has no depth, he's reckless and immature, and his character development was done very poorly. Okay, everybody's entitled to their opinion, and, well, I'm about to give my opinion on these complaints. Starting with, he's overrated. Well, even though I'm not just a huge fan of Jack personally, I wouldn't say that he's one of my favorite characters. I wouldn't call him overrated. I think that he's a very strong, very well-developed character that's very well done all around, and I think that he deserves the praise that he gets. But also, having said that, even if you do think that a character is overrated, is that really a reason to hate the character? I mean, even if you do think that a character is getting a lot of undeserved praise, does that make the character itself bad? I remember myself going through a phase where I disliked the movie The Lion King and most of the characters from the franchise. And I've come to realize today that even though I'm still not a big fan of the movie or the franchise of it, I do actually like it, but my reason for disliking it was mostly because I felt like it was getting undeserved praise. And I like it now because I realized that disliking it because I felt like it was overrated wasn't really a legitimate reason for me to dislike it. So for those of you who feel like Jack is overrated, that's something that I think that you need to think about. Is him being overrated, in your opinion, a logical reason for you to dislike him? Moving on. He has annoying fans. Well, yes, he does. In fact, almost all characters and franchises, movies, whatever, they all have annoying fans. But again, is that a reason to dislike them? Speaking as an Uncle Scrooge fan, I've dealt with plenty of annoying Scrooge fans. For example, some users that I met on the internet, I won't say their names, but some users that I met on the internet were bound, danged, and determined that they were going to convince me that Scrooge and Goldie had an affair while they were in the cabin together. They wouldn't listen to my opinion. They wouldn't even agree to disagree. They called me all kinds of names, told me that I was stupid for not being able to see it. And some words that that I shouldn't be saying here. But yes, I know which comic they're talking about. I've read the comic, and I can't tell that it's an implied sex scene. I asked the author of the comic himself if it was intended to be one. He said it was up to the reader to decide, and until Disney officially confirms it, it didn't happen in my world. Anyway, back to Jack Frost. My point is that even though I've dealt with some very rude, very annoying Uncle Scrooge fans, that it didn't change my opinion about Scrooge himself. He's still my favorite fictional character, and I love him a lot. So, if you personally love Jack, I don't see how his annoying fans should reduce your love for him. And again, that's something that you need to think about. If you truly like or love a character, the fact that they have annoying fans shouldn't affect your opinion of them. He's good looking. Really? Really? That has got to be one of the lamest excuses for disliking a character I've ever heard. I mean, practically every hero, heroine, protagonist is good looking. I mean, aside from Quasimodo, and then if we're going to get into alternative forms, you've got like Tiana and Naveen in their frog form, Beast in his beast form. Aside from them, I really can't think of that many that are what I would call ugly. There are some that are plain, and not drop-dead gorgeous, but I mean, what, did you expect him to look butt ugly or something? Because I definitely don't get that one. He's boring and has no depth. To each their own, but okay, he's boring. Okay, for starters, how can a guy who controls the winter weather, knows Santa Claus, the Tooth Fairy, the Easter Bunny, the Sandman, battles the Boogeyman Pitch, goes all the kinds of adventures that he does, be a boring character? And as far as him having no depth, I mean, to me, he's a very complex character. You can tell that that he really wants to know about his past, yet at the same time, he's afraid of it. You can tell that he wants to help the children and be a guardian, but at the same time put on a tough face and not appear too soft. I mean, to me, he's got a lot of layers and a lot of depth to him. So, Uh, the whole he's boring and has no depth. I really don't see that. Um, he's reckless and immature. Yes, yes, he is. He starts out as a very reckless, immature, happy-go-lucky, or at least tries to appear as a happy-go-lucky teenage type character. But he matures through the movie. So, I mean, it's not like it's promoting recklessness. I mean, yes, there are scenes where, like, he uh, sets off the kid's alarm clock to pull the prank. He um, puts Jamie in danger when he's sledding down the hill, and then he throws the elf across the room. I mean, his recklessness does cause problems, but he matures from it. So I don't really see how having a character that starts out immature and then matures is a bad thing. And he does have to deal with the consequences of his immature actions. Again, I don't really see how, you know, him maturing from his immature actions and having to deal with the consequences of them is necessarily a bad thing. His character development was done poorly. Are you kidding me? Okay. When you look at a character like Prince Naveen from Princess and the Frog, or Flynn Rider from Tangled, to me their development wasn't done very well. They start off egocentric, and then somewhere along the way they, boom, reform. To me that's bad character development. When you look at, say, Jack Frost, pretty much every time he makes a mistake, he feels bad about it, and you can see him maturing a little bit from it. But his big epiphany moment, and when he really changes and realizes that he's supposed to be a guardian, is when he finds his memories. And to me, that's an appropriate time to have to have a big change in a character. With Naveen and Flynn, there really wasn't any reason for them to change. Like I said with Jack Frost, it does show him maturing throughout the movie, but he has an actual reason for changing when he finds his memories, and it doesn't just happen for no reason. So to me, his development is much more realistic than Naveen and Flynn, and a lot of other characters that I've seen reform and mature. Anyway, like I mentioned before, even though Jack Frost isn't a personal favorite character of mine, I think that he's a very well done character, and I understand why a lot of people have him as their favorite. Um, the link to my first video will be in the comments section below, and the link to my friend's 2 videos will be in the comments section below. I encourage you to watch those videos, and as a shout out to my friend, well, it's the big 4 all together: Santa Claus, Tooth Fairy, Sandman, and the Easter Kangaroo.